The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and go. Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good. Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champ.
Holy three. Goal! Nick Foley ball. Back out Shelley. Three ball. Goal! Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you, and thanks for joining us today. Oregon Track and Field head coach Robert Johnson will be with us in a short while. We'll chat with him. Also, our buddy Hayden Herrera from NBC 16 KMTR here in Eugene. Hayden's been covering the Ducks longer than most at this point. You know, I was talking with Patrick Pearson about this from the Oregon Athletic Communications Office actually not too long ago, that the amount of beat reporters and different anchors and reporters around the Eugene area have actually changed so much in the last 4 years that if you can count Jerry Allen and Rob Mosley and me as people that have been on the quote-unquote Ducks beat, there's really not very many that have been on it as long as we have. Well, there's no one that's been on it as long as Jerry. Not anywhere close. But there's a lot of turnover. Hayden Herrera is not one of them, actually. Hayden has been covering the Ducks the last 5 years. And we've actually got a really fun story to tell you about Hayden Herrera and why Braylon Addison might owe Hayden Herrera a steak dinner. That's a fun story. We're going to talk about that as Hayden's going to join us, talk a little bit about his thoughts on everything going on. And if you missed it earlier today, Acrobatics and Tumbling with head coach Karly Nowak has just been doing a spectacular job promoting their program. They're doing Instagram Live Q&As with the student athletes that Keenan is hosting, Coach Juan. And we're going to air it for you on the show. I thought Keenan did a great job. I was texting back and forth with Coach Juan, and she's like, no Joey Mack. I was like, no, that was better than Joey Mack. I mean, that's easy to do, but it was better than Joey Mack. So we got that for you, getting to know Karly Nowak, one of the student athletes that will be featured as part of that Instagram Live series that you can find every day that starts with a T, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. That's coming up today on the show as well. What else do we have for you? The AP preseason All-Americans are out, and it is a little bit odd because there's a lot of conferences that aren't playing. In fact, the majority of conferences aren't going to play in the fall. Going to try and play in the spring. Well, the 47 AP poll voters were asked to consider all Division I players. So even those who had actually already opted out, as you've seen around the news, I'm sure, and those whose teams have postponed the football season until the spring. So obviously the Ducks are in that category. And the Big Ten, all those schools as well, Pac-12. But the Ducks with a couple preseason All-Americans. Penei Sewell, shocker, right? Penei for Heisman, by the way. I mean, let's just keep that trend going. Why not? Penei Sewell is a preseason first-team All-American for the Associated Press. And then the Ducks also saw Kayvon Thibodeau, the outstanding sophomore, the reigning Pac-12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. Kayvon Thibodeau, a defensive end, a first-team All-American, according to the Associated Press preseason anyway. And I thought it was interesting. We saw Javon Holland on the second team as a safety. You know, you could really make an argument for Javon Holland as an all-purpose player. Javon's been really good in punt return duties, and he's really not just a safety. I mean, he can play nickel, he can play corner. He's really a defensive back. I'll make that argument, an all-purpose player. Normally, you see the all-purpose player be like some kind of returner, you know, and who's also like a slot receiver, maybe plays a little bit of H-back. You know, it depends on the offense, right? But I think that you could make the argument that Javon's that guy on the defensive side of the ball that could be an all-purpose player. So it's a little bit funky talking to you about the Associated Press preseason All-Americans, but we have them, and the Ducks have 3 guys on that list. 2 first-teamers and a second-teamer, according to the Associated Press. For those of you who are wondering, because everybody seems to wonder about the first-team quarterback, it was Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. Hubbard, the junior running back from Oklahoma State, and Etienne from Clemson are the running backs. Some of the other highlights include a Penn State linebacker in Micah Parsons, another one of those guys that will be part of the postponement group, if you will. I'm actually really fascinated to see what organizations like the Associated Press decide to do. You know, do you have your All-American team come out in June? You know, do you wait for the entire season to be played in the spring? I don't know. Do you have 2? Do you have 2 teams? Because you can't. I mean, I feel like now if you're going to do like a mid-season AP All-American team, yeah, you could do that without the Big Ten, Pac-12, and all these other conferences. But I don't know. Do you wait until June? That's kind of what I would prefer. Sitting here in Pac-12 country, I would prefer that we're having this conversation in June after all the seasons have been played. Now, if you're ACC, Big 12, SEC, if those games go according to plan, then you're probably like, yeah, just do it in December because then there's going to be more dudes from those teams that are on the team. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's a decision that I don't think I'm going to ever want to really have to think about again. So let's all do our part and make sure that we don't have to think about that again. I'm knocking on wood for you. Also, the Produx viewing guide has been updated on Goducks.com. Rob Mosley's done a great job of going through, doing it every week. So with the NBA playoffs today, you're actually going to see Bol with the Denver Nuggets. The Utah Jazz are going to play against the Nugs on TNT. That'll be maybe the last chance to see Bol because it's only if necessary on Thursday coming up. That's just one thing this afternoon. So if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, I know that my buddy Bart, who grew up a big-time Nuggets fan, he'll probably be watching. I'm hoping that he's leaving work early. The Ducks will also be keeping an eye on a few other things today, like Sabrina Ionescu's New York Liberty playing against Ruthie Hebard, even though Sabrina won't be on the floor, but Ruthie Hebard will be for the Chicago Sky. Also, Satu Sabali in action today. Both of those games are on CBS Sports Network for the WNBA. We'll tell you a little bit more about that because I do see that we have our guest. He's here, ladies and gentlemen, and by here I mean virtually. Robert Johnson is with us. All right. I told Coach that we would take a break before we talk to him, but he's here early, so I say, Coach, we just get rolling right with it. Are you good with that, sir?
Talk to me. What's going on here? You looks like you're rocking your neo soul look that you have going on there.
You know, that's actually probably the most creative comment we've gotten on the hair so far. What do you think, Coach? I mean, not too bad, huh?
Well, in light of all the unrest that's going on in the world, it looks like you're showing your support with your white afro you got there.
All right. We're going to have to keep that statement and just on repeat from Coach Robert Johnson, head coach, Oregon Track and Field, joining us. Coach, thanks for taking the time to hop on today. Let's start. Coach, crazy times. Everyone close to you, safe, healthy, everybody doing okay?
Absolutely. And let me say something very unpopular. How about them Lakers?
Oh, jeez. I didn't even get a chance to talk about the Blazers' disaster last night. And Coach, you must have seen my notes here because I've got it on. I will actually tell you exactly what my notes say. Sorry, Blazers, with an unhappy face. 3-1 Lakers, do we care? That was literally going to be a segment later in the show.
Well, I know that I was out and about and I recorded the game because I wasn't able to see it during this live broadcast. And I didn't want to get on Twitter or social media, ESPN, and look at the score. I wanted to go home and watch it for myself.
Okay.
But slowly but surely, I started getting these texts or these memes with Damian Lillard tapping on his wrist, talking about it's Dame time. That was a game one. My Twitter, my text message feed has been quiet ever since that game. No text messages, no random memes, no nothing. And I'm wondering if people fell off the face of the earth or something, or they are not paying their fiber optics and their cable bill is cut short because they're not watching the same games that I'm watching.
Okay, I have multiple things to unpack here with Robert Johnson, head coach, Oregon Track and Field. Have you always been a Lakers fan, or are you just a LeBron fan?
I'm a LeBron fan, but I've always been a Lakers fan all the way back to the Jamal Wilkes days.
All right. Okay, fair enough. I have much more respect for you now than a lot of other Laker fans that are really just LeBron fans these days. You know what I'm talking about. So, Coach, obviously then you're excited like the rest of us to watch live sports again, and we all hope that we're going to get back to some competition, cross-country, track and field, everything in between. What have you guys been up to? What have you been up to during these crazy times, Coach? We haven't talked to you since March. The last time we talked to you was about a week before this all started, and, man, times have changed after 5 months.
Boy, have they ever. Definitely been one of those trying times, one of those things to where we're trying to help young people find their voices, trying to help them to understand the nuances, trying to help them to start to do some homework and research on their own, because there's so much history that probably isn't being taught that should be taught in our public schools. And just basically trying to learn and grow from one another. You know, we happen to be one of those very diverse teams on campus, and people come from all walks of life. And to be able to sit down and have real life conversations about your thoughts and your opinions. And sometimes your thoughts and your opinions may not be popular, but to still be able to be in a safe space, to be able to share those things in hopes to learn and how those thoughts or opinions may be spot on or a foul or not contrary to what's going on in the world. So definitely been one of those trying times to where we're facilitating and navigating some unprecedented times, but it's also good because we're having beyond surface conversations.
You know, you bring up something, Coach, that I've been talking about since with a lot of subjects, the cultural unrest around and everything that's going on with that, plus a global pandemic at the same time. You know, Coach, you bring up a point that I think is really important, that nuance is important in conversations these days, isn't it? I mean, those are. I feel like that's kind of what you're hitting on there. And I mean, just having those conversations with your student athletes, that's got to be difficult for a coach, for any individual. But like you said, they're kind of important conversations to have, aren't they?
They're very important, and we should have been having them a long time ago.
Fair enough. Robert Johnson joining us, head coach, Oregon Track and Field. You know, I got a lot to get to, Coach. Do you mind taking a time out with us, and then we'll come back talk with you for a little longer?
You got me, so get all of me.
All right. I like – okay. Did you hear that? He said we're getting all of him, so we're doing that. All right. Stick with us. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. More with Robert Johnson inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Learfield IMG College.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. I just want everybody to know that I was talking with Coach Robert Johnson during the break, and of course the first thing, and in some ways the only important thing that we talked about during the break was that he asked again what the heck's going on with my hair. Yo, Coach, I like it. I think it's okay. I think we're doing all right.
Hey, like I said, you might be my brother from another mother there, because we could have kindred hairstyles.
Yeah, I'm in. And Coach also did discuss the fact that might need to get a haircut. So we're gonna look into that. Don't worry, everybody, bear with us. Robert Johnson joining us, kind enough to take some time out of his schedule. Coach, I know there's a lot to unpack here. Just your reaction to having a outdoor season get the rug pulled out from underneath it. Same thing with the indoors. This all started right before the championships. Now we've got cross-country season postponed. I mean, just you and your staff, Coach, the reaction to that, and how have the student-athletes handled what's got to just be a little bit of a backbreaker in some regards?
Yeah, it's one of those things to where people are kind of in uproar, as well as they should be, because their sports and their things are being taken away. But when it comes just down to it, this is our second one. You got to understand, our indoors was taken away, our outdoor season was taken away, and now we're talking about our cross country has been taken away. So we've kind of seen this movie a couple of times now ever since March of last year, which you referenced. So old happenstance for us here in the track and field world, unlike what we're experiencing in the fall sports and football. So maybe a little more experience, whether we like it or we don't like it, which we definitely don't like it. It's kind of one of those things to where we're a little callous and a little resilient because we've been through this before. So fortunate in that, because I think we have a little bit of a blueprint and how to deal with it and how to have the conversation. However, troubling and trying at best.
Logistically now, Coach, I mean, what are the challenges for you ahead? And what are you able to do with the team in lieu of competition against everybody else? You guys are still able to do some training, right?
Yeah, we're going to be able to, like, cross country's first day is they're going to be reporting here this coming Friday. And we're going to have to be creative to keep their competitive juices going, because they're competitors at heart, and they want to get out there and go and showcase all the hard work that they've been putting in all summer. And so we're going to be trying to have some different things here throughout their practice progressions and their progress to test some of their fitness levels.
Robert Johnson, head coach, Oregon Track and Field, joining us. Coach, and I think it's important to note that this is still a postponement, right? I mean, so are there some challenges associated with that? And have you guys talked about just what that could look like if you're going to have overlapping seasons with cross country and track and field? I mean, is that even on the radar? Have you guys thought about that yet?
Yes, it's one of the conversations, but then it's also one of the unique things that is in track and field. So if there's no football, in the fall, then let's play football in the spring. Well, that doesn't quite work for us here in athletics, because if there's no cross country and you want to have cross country in the spring, well, what are they going to do with outdoor track? Are they not going to run the distance events in outdoor track because they're doing cross country? And so those same kids that compete in cross country also do indoor and outdoor track. So it's not going to be one of those things to where you can do both at one time.
Yeah.
So another challenge that we're going to have to come up with ideas and how to fix and get through.
Not to ponder on challenges, and I know we're going to focus on solutions here in a moment. I mean, what else comes to mind, Coach? What else you guys facing just kind of to get through this over the next few months? Other challenges for you and your program?
Yeah, just the morale piece of it as well. And then, of course, the people always go to the mental health aspect of it as well, when your identity is kind of tied up to competing and being an athlete, and some of those things are being taken from you. And so we're going to have to be creative and come up with solutions and ideas on how to feed those narratives. So the good thing about it is we all get to be together again. So those kids coming back and being here on campus, we get to see their faces. They get to see our faces. And of course, Oregon has done an awesome job because we have so many resources and so many things here to help the student athlete get through some of these trying times. And I think it becomes a lot easier when you have these us against the world mindsets and mentalities, or this shared sacrifice mentality that everybody's doing it together. And it's not just one or isolated few. You can find some solace in it being your team and your brothers and your sisters that are out there enduring and fighting the same things you are. So there's some camaraderie and some things that we hope that are going to come out of that make this thing more manageable. Robert Johnson, head coach, Oregon Track and Field, joining us. Coach, how about the roster outlook? I mean, you guys still very, very talented in a lot of different regards. I guess just your thoughts on that roster now as we head into these unprecedented waters. I've heard some people call it a super roster. Yeah, we got a super roster. We got a very talented incoming class come in, as well as we got some kids that would have graduated that are going to be coming back. So we get some more senior and team leadership for those newcomers, which I think is awesome, because some of those kids there that are coming back are great leaders, and we were going to be hate to have them go and miss them. And now we get a do-over. Right. We get a chance to have them impart some of the things that make them so special to us, and maybe impart some of those to our newcomers. So it's good in that respect as well. But I guess the bad part about it is just the total numbers. Yeah. I think we're going to be up in triple digits as far as our roster is concerned, and we haven't been that way in 3 or 4 years or so. So some of the challenges there, and then of course resources and being able to make sure that we have enough to go around for everybody, because the resources aren't finite or infinite, and so we got to manage those, and so those are going to be some real conversations that are going to have to add. But we are fortunate. It is Tracktown USA. We are at the University of Oregon. We have lots of people here that love what we do, and so ability to be able to tap into those is a plus in us being here in the Pac-12 and the Northwest. Maybe the shining example of those resources and the people of Tracktown USA is the new Hayward Field, Coach. I got to ask you about that. I mean, let me just say, I think the world did not do us any favors with everything that's happening, because we didn't get to open Hayward Field really the way that we wanted, and I think that's an understatement. But, I mean, just, Coach, it's an impressive venue, isn't it? It is absolutely fantastic, and I'm shocked. And whenever I go around and I hear people talk about it, they can't believe that this is in Eugene. Yeah. It is Tracktown USA, though, Coach. It is Tracktown USA. It's just unbelievable, and every chance that I get to come over here and walk on the infield, it's just mind-blowing what's surrounding it. So are you over at Hayward right now? Is that where I am. So you got to give us a little bit of a tour here, Coach. I mean, you got a TV that's turned off behind you for those of you who are watching the show. I mean, is this the new office of Robert Johnson? No, it is not the office. Outside, I'm just in the lower bowl section there, and I'm in the meat ops area because there's some power washing going on, and then there's some a mower out there cutting the infield. And Ron Perkins is one of our former athletes. There's used to be one of our javelin throwers. He's manning the Hayward Field lawn, and he's putting those lines in the grass that always make it look so special. So it's definitely a happening and buzzing place here. Yeah, it's been pretty cool just to keep track of everything. I know there's a lot of staffers over there who are getting everything situated, making sure that everything's working, and it really is a spectacle of a place. Yep. This is going to be an unfair question for you, Coach, and I say this knowing that. Your top
things that you like about the new venue after all the planning that went into it and all the input that you guys had to make it perfect for student athletes? I mean, just what are some of your highlights as you've gotten a chance to now walk through Hayward Field?
I think you hit the nail on the head there, and it's all the stuff that the student athletes get, all the stuff that they didn't have before. Those things make it really, really special, and I can't wait for them to get back here and see it, even though because of what's going on in the world and the COVID and the pandemic, there are going to be some limited aspects and things that we're going to have to navigate and how to use it. And some of those things are going to be offline because they're just not used anywhere on campus, just based on the restrictions that are being handed down and given to us by the state and Lane County Public Health. So those are definitely hands down my favorite aspects of the place.
Robert Johnson, head coach, Oregon Track and Field. I could talk to you for hours, but I'll let you get back to actually doing your job, which is kind of important at times. And hey, good luck with having cross country report on Friday. Good luck with everything, Coach. I always appreciate you taking the time, and we'll do this again sometime, I promise. And if you get me in for one of those haircuts, you let me know, okay?
Hey, absolutely. That as well as I would love to come on the Joey Mack, the insider, and spend a good bit of time and just talk all current events and live and sports and all of the above. I think I'd be a good co-host for a day.
Oh, you'd be a good host for a day. I'll just get out of the way. Let's not beat around the bush here. I'll just get out of the way and let you take over.
Now, we don't want to quite do that because you might get canceled after that episode. But co-hosting is good.
All right, I'll take it. Robert Johnson, future co-host. You let me know a day that works for you. All right. Once cross country gets settled in, I'm taking you up on this.
I like it.
Okay, he's on record now. Save that clip also along with the hair, all right? Save that clip. Robert Johnson, head coach, Oregon Track and Field. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate the time.
All right, buddy. You guys be good.
I'm just going to be laughing about that for a solid at least a week. I mean, that was something else. That was something else from one Robert Johnson. He was at the new Hayward Field. That was pretty cool. And they're power washing, getting stuff situated. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, we're going to get a quick timeout. When we come back, I see that Hayden Herrera has crept into the Zoom meeting. So we're going to have to talk to him. And Hayden doesn't know this yet. We actually have a little bit of a surprise in store for Hayden Herrera. Are you excited about that?
Yeah. Okay.
Hayden Herrera.
I'm listening.
Our buddy from KMTR joining us. Stick with us. More Duck Insider to come. Oh, man. We're back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar presents an original that's now maybe even better. Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a delicious Mountain Dew Zero Sugar with the same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. And all the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't get Humpty to try a different zero sugar soda again.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. As good as the original, maybe even better.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish, Dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Join Mac inside the Country Financial Studio, and today's show brought to you by North Fork Public House, open for dine-in and takeout, northforkeugene.com. Hayden Herrera is our guest next. Back-to-back guests today, and it's actually pretty funny. Right when Robert Johnson signed off, Hayden signed into the Zoom meeting. It was like bang, bang, perfect timing. I didn't mean for it to be that way, but this is why we only have the one Zoom link for people that join the show, because otherwise it just gets too complicated. Hayden Herrera is our guest, NBC 16 KMTR. He's a sports anchor. And Hayden, I was talking about this at the start of the show. You've been covering the Ducks now for about 5 years, right?
It'll be 5 years in September, yeah.
All right. So apart from, Jerry Allen, Rob Mosley, me, who's been on the Duck beat longer than you at this point?
Well, let's give some credit to the guard, the Mims and Thorburn. Those
but
guys.
Mims started in like 16.
No, I thought he was there when I was there.
But he wasn't always on the Duck beat.
Okay, well then, yeah, maybe there's only a few of us remaining. Yeah, I'm getting old now. I'm turning 30 in February. This is crazy, and I still get ID'd when I go buy alcohol.
You have to understand. Scott, turn your mic on. You got to understand, Hayden, that you just insulted our expert producer.
I'm like, dude, you're 30? You're just a kid, man. This is great. This is the best time of your life.
Hey, man, it's the changing of the guard.
That's right. Oh, all right. Well, we took a turn down the left. We took the left tunnel right there. Hayden Herrera is joining us. Yeah, we always do. So, Hayden, before we have a little fun, and I've got a big Duck connection, and I've always kind of made this joke that Braylon Addison probably owes Hayden a steak dinner for one of his. Actually, not even anything. He was just doing his job. Hayden was. So, before we get to that, Hayden, sportscasts in a pandemic with no sports going on. What's that been like, as a sports anchor? Like, we were off the air. It was basically an elongated summer break for us on Duck Insider with no spring sports. What were sportscasts like for you guys over the last few months?
Yeah, you were in Vegas when this all went down. I was making my travel plans for the NCAA tournament, whether it would be Spokane or Sacramento. I was ready to go for wherever the Oregon men were going to go. And, yeah, everything kind of just shut down. So as a sports team, we had to figure out what we were going to do. We kind of thought maybe our news department would put us on working news stories since there were no sports. And there was some discussion of that, but ultimately our management said, hey, there are still sports stories to tell during this pandemic. How are these athletes being affected? What's going on? So they just wanted us to continue to tell stories. So that's what we've been doing. I've been working from home. Our office kind of doesn't really have the social distancing requirements necessary. So we only have usually like one person in the office. So yeah, I've just been working from home, doing Zoom interviews like I'm doing right now. My first one, you just had Robert Johnson. My first story was on track. I got in touch with Raven Rogers, Jessica Hall, just talking about how they had trying to adjust their schedule with no Olympics.
Yeah, with the Diamond League too, they were over in Stockholm. Jessica Hull had a top 5 finish. Raven Rogers had a number 2 finish. Some pro Ducks there. It's been pretty cool just to follow some of that. Because Hayden, honestly, I'm with you. That's been the coolest thing for us on the show. Is normally we're so knee deep in football. Really, we're like neck deep in football at this point. That there's all these pro Duck stories that a lot of times we don't get a chance to really tell them. I think that's great. I love that. There are a lot of stories to still tell, which has been pretty cool. What are some of the other stories that you've done? Some of your other favorites over the last few months.
Got to talk to Big Boy, which was amazing. I actually wanted to talk to him last season whenever, he first started coming to Oregon games because his son, Cross Patton, running back on the football team. So I found his website. I emailed his PR team back in November, I think, saying, hey, would love to talk to him when he's in town. Didn't hear anything. I kind of forgot about it, to be honest, with the busy football season we had. So then this happens, a pandemic, and I'm looking for stories, and I thought of that. So I emailed them again just to see if anybody would respond to me. And sure enough, his publicist said, hey, he'll talk to you. Just send us a link. And sure enough, I got to talk to Big Boy from my living room. It was kind of crazy. I showed him my Outcast CD. I still have a Speaker Box, The Love Below. First CD I ever bought in a record store. I don't know if people remember what record store. Remember FYE, For Your Entertainment? Bought Speaker Box, The Love Below, but my mom had one caveat: had to buy the clean version. Remember when you could buy the explicit? So I heard Roses, Hey with all the clean version as a child, but showed him that. He got a kick out of it. That was one of the cool stories. I just talked to Jerry Allen earlier today. Going to do a story on him. Talking with Jorgie later on.
All right.
Just about what I'm doing this summer. So yeah, pretty much any sport, anything is up for grabs right now, which is kind of cool.
I love it. Well, I got to say, you just made Scott really hate you when you were like, do people remember what record stores were? And yeah, Scott's, I think, officially.
I was like, what was it, FYE?
Yeah.
I was
Yes,
like, what about
FYE.
Sam Goody? You remember Sam Goody?
Sam Goody.
Licorice Pizza? All those
We were an
things?
FYE family. I don't know. Sam Goody wasn't at our mall in
I
Arkansas.
think they'd closed by the time you guys were born, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know. Hayden Herrera joining us from KMTR, NBC 16. All right, so, Hayden, let's have a little bit of fun here, and we'll do our best to tell the story. So everybody remembers the wild triple overtime game. Hayden jokes that this is his claim to fame. It's not his only claim to fame. It's one of a few, all right? Can we agree on this? So we actually have the clip. Hayden knows a little bit of what I'm about to do, I think. He's caught on by now. So this is why Braylon Addison probably owes Hayden a steak dinner, and maybe really all of the Duck fans that were at Arizona State that day do, because you'll hear Jerry Allen's call of this moment, and many of you will remember exactly what we're talking about.
Snap to throw again. Pump fake. Going back corner of the end zone to Addison. Got it, but did he get a foot in? No call yet. No call yet. No call yet. Touchdown, Addison! Think they might review this?
This is crazy.
Oh, this is great drama.
This is crazy football.
The great drama is the fact that Hayden's camera light was just barely blocking Braylon Addison's toe on the out-of-bounds line. And Hayden, I just want everybody to know, and I want you to tell the story from your vantage point. You were doing everything right. You were just completely doing your job in that circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that was a crazy game. Once it got to overtime, I was worried about my battery situation from shooting on because I only bring about like 3 batteries to a game, and usually one for the first half, one for the second half, one for post-game interviews. And once we got to overtime, kind of got nervous.
Yeah.
Had to run back into the media room. When that touchdown happened, I was right at the line. There's a little line, a couple feet behind the end zone line, white dotted line, and that's where I was. I was right next to Kristen Rogers from then KZI at that point. She was right next to me. But yeah, the little light. What's funny about that on my camera, that light is removable. Sometimes I take it off, sometimes I take it off.
I'm so glad it was on there.
I had to have it on for the interviews after the game, whenever the game was going to end. So, honestly, I didn't even know what had happened until after the game when I saw Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer mentioning the camera.
Yeah, I remember the TV call was like, "There's a camera in the way. We can't see anything." And you guys all heard on Jerry's call, it was like, "Wait for it. We don't know for sure." And then Jerry joking, like, think they're going to review it. And it was like the longest review in the history of reviews. That's how I felt by the time it was triple overtime. And thank God for Arion Springs and that interception where he ran up the tunnel at the end of the game. Anyway, I mean, Hayden, so I'm kind of curious. I mean, you've covered a lot of live Duck events. I mean, that's got to be up there for you, not just because of the personal connection, because it's funny, but I mean, what are some of your other favorite Duck games that you've covered and just Duck events that you've been a part of over your career here?
Oh, well, the most recent one, the last sporting event really that the last 3 big sporting events I went to were awesome. The Rose Bowl, obviously, New Year's Day. That was my first Rose Bowl, being from the South. My Arkansas Razorbacks have never been in. SEC teams don't get to go to the Rose Bowl, so being in that arena was amazing. And then once I was at the final home games, senior days for Oregon women in men's basketball, seeing Sabrina and Ruthie say goodbye, seeing Peyton Pritchard. Those memories just out of most recent have been awesome. But then other memories, honestly, my first year getting to cover Justin Herbert's senior season at Sheldon High was pretty cool because at this point he was just a kid committed to Oregon, the hometown kid, a nice little story. And so we would, future Duck Justin Herbert taking on South Eugene, and he was a great athlete. And I was like, man, he's pretty good, but he'll be fourth string for Oregon. Maybe he'll get a senior day appearance in 2019. But that, and I gotta say, it's not a mainly Duck moment, but one of my favorite moments. You just had Robert Johnson on the 2016 Olympic trials. That was just amazing. So many Ducks booked their ticket to Rio that summer, and I was so looking forward to doing that again in the new Hayward Field. Got to wait till next year though, and it's going to be awesome just to see because that's like 10 days of nonstop track coverage. We're there, just down in the media room, getting all the interviews, watching all the events. It's a really long period of the summer, but it's really fun.
Yeah, it's worth it though. Those events at Hayward are really one of a kind. It's pretty outstanding. All right, Hayden. So now what? I mean, now that we know that we don't have any fall sports postponed until the end of the year, now what the heck are you going to do on a sportscast?
Yeah, so again, we're just kind of, you mentioned, I was listening to the show earlier, thankfully we have a lot of pro Ducks in a lot of various sports. It sucks to see Sabrina get injured, but it's really cool seeing Satu and Ruthie in their rookie seasons. We've been following those. We've been following the various pro Ducks in baseball. Thankfully, we have NFL coming back. I don't have HBO anymore, so I haven't been able to watch Justin Herbert on Hard Knocks. I heard it's not as great this year just because, of the restrictions and, it's just kind of a weird season. But I can't wait to see what he does and the other Oregon rookies making their pro debut. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we'll be doing. It does suck. OSAA, they canceled their fall sports, so we don't have our Friday Night Fever, our high school football show that we do every Friday night. That's unfortunate. But, we're just going to still continue to do stories about local people, what's going on. And, I'll have something with Jerry and Jorgie next week. I'm really wanting to do something. This is not really – it's local in the sense that it's in Oregon, but I am a huge fan of the video game Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Okay.
And – they are re-releasing 1 and 2 brand new edition next week.
Yeah.
And of course, anybody that played that in the 90s knows that Portland's Burnside Skatepark is one of the featured parks on there. So I really want to do a story on that, just what that park is, what it is meant to have that in the game, piece of Portland culture. So a fun little story that I might not have been able to do in any other time.
I'm really looking forward to that story now as a fellow fan, so you better pull that off. I mean, just broadcaster to broadcaster, and 2, make sure that you give Jorgie ample time to give Jerry a hard time. Okay, you're gonna want to just every coach's show. We got to budget like 10 minutes just for them to give each other crap. It's just part of the deal. It's part of the deal. So This is great. Well, Hayden, hey, thanks so much for taking the time to hop on with us. This was great to catch up with you, have a little fun. And, that is one of the best games, to be honest, that I've seen. And big part of it, why, is because Hayden covered up a potential toe that would have been a reversal. And it's fine. Yeah, the Ducks won. It's great. Hayden Herrera joining us from KMTR NBC 16. Hayden, hey, thanks for the time, buddy. Good luck the rest of the way. And I'll be keeping track of all those stories.
All right, thanks, Joey. Had fun.
Hayden Herrera, you can find him on Twitter at Hayden Herrera. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about acrobatics and tumbling because they've got a great series on Instagram Live going. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Welcome back for another episode of ASMR with Alex. Today, we're exploring the delicious, refreshing sounds of Pepsi. Oh, spilled a little there, but don't worry. It's all under control. Now for the best part. Pepsi. That's what I like. Nailed it. My subscriber is gonna love this one.
Locally owned Bigfoot Beverages is proud to support the Oregon Ducks. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through, like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace. Learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Jackson's Food Stores, proud sponsor of the University of Oregon Ducks. Head to Jackson's and go Ducks. My thanks to Hayden Herrera for joining us inside the Country Financial Studio. Yeah, it was fun to catch up with him. I still think about that game, and I remember that night. Hayden and I were talking about it. Like, man, the TV guys really hated you. and meanwhile, me, Jerry, and Jorgie and Terry are like, no, it was great. Great placement. Good job. I mean, it's just, oh, man. That was fun today, catching up with Hayden, catching up with Robert Johnson. And also, it's been really cool. We won't get a chance to air the entire interview today, so I encourage you to check it out on the Instagram page for the Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling team. They're doing it's a great idea. So head coach Keenan Wan is going through and interviewing different student athletes, kind of getting to know them. I imagine, and this is just my opinion, probably helps with recruiting a little bit, get to hear from the student athletes. Awesome, awesome idea. And Keenan is a great interview. Coach Wan, she's a great interview for us on the show. She's also a great interviewer. You're going to hear that as we get to know the Acrobatics and Tumbling team through a series of interviews via their head coach. Check it out.
All right. Hi, guys. I am Coach Keenan Wan, head coach of the Acrobatics and Tumbling program here at the University of Oregon. We are so excited that you're joining us today for our mini-series, Question and Answers with the Ducks. This is a spin-off of the NCATA's Conversations with Coaches. So if you haven't been able to go check that out, definitely do. Over the course of the next month, you'll get to meet some of our amazing and phenomenal student athletes. And first up today, we have Karly Nowak.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I wish I could give you a big hug right now. So fun. Okay, so we're so excited. We're going to hop right in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, and a little about your family.
All right, so I'm Karly. I'm going to be a sophomore. I'm from New Jersey, the Jersey Shore, and I live over here. I grew up over here with my parents. I have 2 older siblings, and yeah.
I love it. I love it. How's the weather in Jersey today?
It is beautiful, 80, sunny, super nice. Here.
I love it. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your background and what your athletic background was before getting into acro.
So I did competitive cheerleading for 10 years. In between there, I did a little bit of gymnastics, but mostly cheer. I cheered for World Cup, and I grew up through that program. And yeah, I loved it. Sort of, but
love it. So how did you hear about acrobatics and tumbling? Obviously we've had some World Cup athletes come through, but how did you hear about it?
So the first time I heard about it was I cheered with Tony Broniszewski. She was on Baylor, and I grew up with Katie Bachman, who just graduated last year, and so I heard about it through them, and they helped me through the recruiting process, and I came out for a camp, and I'm super excited. So yeah.
That is so fun. I love it. I love our little acro world. So now that you've had 1 year under your belt, I know season got cut short, but tell everybody, what is your favorite event and why?
So my favorite event is definitely a tumbling event. And I think because I've always loved tumbling growing up, through cheer, tumbling is always my favorite thing to do. And I think because it just comes super easy, it was always something that just was super natural for me. And I think because the only person I really have to depend on is myself. Yeah.
I'm going to do a coach brag. Anyone that doesn't know Karly, that is like to a T. She's going to bust her butt. She's going to work hard, give you 110. And this year as a freshman, she actually competed in a solo pass, nailed it, and it was phenomenal. Actually, in our what would be our last meet of the season. So we're so excited this next year. Look out for Karly in those solo passes. So next piece, kind of about being a Duck. You obviously got to come to camp, and now being here for the past year. What's your favorite thing about being a student athlete here at Oregon?
I think my favorite thing about being a student athlete is just the atmosphere, knowing that you have so many people that will support you and do anything they can to help you be successful throughout college and after college. And I think that it's just really comforting knowing how many people you have and all the support and the resources that we have access to.
Love it. So kind of on that, what's your favorite resource that you get as a student athlete?
Probably the JQA, definitely. Just going in there, even if I don't have tutoring, just sitting there, getting to see other student athletes from different teams, and just getting to use the resources there, to study. And
awesome. And those of you guys that are tuning in that aren't familiar with Oregon, the JQA is our student athlete academic facility. It is specifically for our student athletes for tutoring and classes and their academic support. So really cool building. It's a big glass box on our amazing campus here in Eugene. So kind of flipping off a little bit into different gear, but what is your favorite team bonding activity?
I mean, I think going on the recruit was definitely something super fun that we got to do all together, getting to room with teammates and everything. And I think even traveling to meets and getting to room with different people every time is super fun, and just a really great way to learn more about each other and get to bond with each other.
I know sometimes I wish we could just have a camera crew following us around when we're traveling, because that's when everybody's personalities come out. It's so fun. So kind of switching over again back to the academic side of Oregon, tell us about your major and kind of what your career goals are after Oregon.
So I major in human physiology. I'm not super sure about my career goals, but somewhere in the medical field, definitely. My dream job is definitely to be an anesthesiologist, but we'll see.
I love it. And you
For a sophomore, already thinking about that? Pretty cool. I'm Karly Nowak. That was Keenan Wan, head coach, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. You can tune in for the entire interview on Instagram via the Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling account. And on Thursday, they're going to do another one. And then every Tuesday and Thursday over the next month, Keenan and then Taylor as well, the other assistant coach, are going to be doing these interviews. I love the idea. Great idea. And we're definitely going to partake on the show here moving forward. I think it's a spectacular idea. We're going to come back, tell you a little bit about what we're going to do on the show tomorrow and an awesome event that's happening here at Oregon. Really, really awesome. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Again, if you want to catch the entire interview that Coach Keenan Wan did with Karly Nowak, you can check it out on their Instagram page, and they'll have another one coming up with, I don't know yet, actually. We're going to find out together on Thursday at 11 a.m. Pretty cool. Pretty cool idea. Get to know student-athletes a little bit more in depth. We're planning on talking with a few women's soccer student-athletes this week and next week as we kind of talk about what their transition to training without games on the schedule is looking like. We're going to do that over the next few days and keep checking in on Oregon football and Oregon volleyball, Oregon cross country as well, those other sports that have been postponed. There's a really awesome event coming up here at Oregon that I want to tell you about. I think that it's worth noting that it's part of a series of events, and the goal is to increase knowledge of the tremendous accomplishments of black student-athletes while empowering our student-athletes, coaches, and staff to have a greater understanding of how the Oregon community and our athletic department have been shaped by the impact of these diverse student-athletes. This is from an email, actually, from Rob Mullins that came out to staff today, and I thought it was really cool because Otis Davis is going to be speaking to the student-athletes here coming up next week. I mean, he's really an Oregon legend. If you don't know him, he's the first Olympic gold medalist in Oregon track and field history back in 1960 in the 400-meter and the 4x400-meter. A true legend, and he's going to be speaking to the student-athletes. I mean, only at Oregon. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Hey, great show today. I don't know how, but somehow it was a great show today. Gwen Savekis on the show tomorrow. See you then.
All right, everybody in the car. Let's go.
What are we going to do first when we get there, Mom? Go for a hike?
Sure.
What about canoeing? Can we go canoeing, too?
I don't see why.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
It's not that far, sweetie.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
Already?
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org